Hello, Kajus. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Of course, hello, Rakas. My name's Kaas. I'm 19. I've been in the real world for about 1.5 years. I do kickboxing, I do real estate marketing, I do website developments, and I try my best in life. That's basically me.
All right, very cool introduction. Uh, an interesting, unique thing happened here because usually people do an interview with me, and then some people go on to do an interview with Tristan as well. But in your case, you've done an interview with Tristan first, and then here you are now doing an interview with me. So I'll start off with how was that interview with Tristan for you? How are you feeling? How did it go for you? Just your perspective on it. That.
Well, number one, it was a pretty cool feeling just because you see someone on the internet like almost every day, and actually speaking to that person, it's a weird feeling. It was awesome. I also expected it to be way more nervous, but I mean Tristan is a very good interviewer, and like the conversation flowed pretty well. So it's a great experience that I love to have.
Hmm. Okay, very cool. And let's go to the start then. What led to you actually joining the real
Mhm. Um, yeah, I mean, in high school, I was always thinking like, is life really just this? Just listening to what other people tell you, just listening to your teachers, then like finishing school, I guess, no longer talking to your friends, and then getting a degree, getting a job. And to me, I always wanted for something way more. Like it just was not an acceptable reality to me. Um, and I did see like Andrew Tate for about a year, and Tristan, of course, before joining the real world. I actually decided to do it right on my birthday. So August 29th, 2022, I decided to join it right after quitting my job as an electrician's assistant, which paid like, I think it was 5.6 euros per hour. So it was one of the best choices I made, I'd say.
But 5.6 euros an hour for Lithuania, I think that's about an average wage, no?
Uh, I'm not sure. I'd say it's probably the minimum. In Lithuania, things are getting better. Of course, the prices are also increasing.
Yeah.
But that was like my first ever job, and I was nowhere near qualified to do it. I had to learn a lot of stuff. I had to work with people way more experienced than me, like 50-year-olds that are um, they're kind of like still in the Soviet era. They used to talk about the good old days. So it was a good experience to have from some sort of perspective. It gave me another viewpoint in life. But yeah, financially, it wasn't that great.
Okay. And then you find out about the real world, you join it. What campuses did you actually get into?
Well, what's weird is I almost didn't remember this, but at first I was thinking of doing video editing. But like my choices were like copywriting or video editing simply because it required no money, and I didn't have any. I just had my mind and some motivation. So I did end up going with copywriting. It was like my main campus. I also, of course, was in the main campus and business mastery a little bit. And copywriting set, let's say, the ground for what my business is now. Like just writing words, it's quite a small part right now. But it taught me the principles of marketing, the principles of mindsets, and the principles of business.
Mhm. Very cool. And then how did things progress for you? What did you actually apply? How did you land clients? Just anything that comes to mind from the.
Yeah, I was. I was very nervous to actually speak with business owners when I first started. I delayed my first sales call, I think, by a month. I was just watching stuff, like what every new guy does instead of actually taking action, like watching the courses, stuff like that. My first sales call, I prepared all night. I barely slept. It was with a translation agency, and I absolutely butchered it. My laptop even ran out of battery in the middle of the sales call, so it was a total failure. But it taught me quite a lot. It taught me that, hey, you're not going to die if you're going on a sales call. Then my first success was through Instagram outreach. I landed a skincare company. It was a lady who had um, not that much knowledge about marketing, but she was trying to start an online brand. So I offered her Facebook ads, and alongside that, since I just wanted to make it happen, I built her a new website for free that converted way better. So that was my first success. It was 360 euros split into two payments. So I was the happiest man in the world the day it hit like 180 euros in my bank account.
Yep, yep, yep. And since then, how did you continue scaling? How did the sales course change? How did your offer change? Just with the confidence you built up, did you leverage the testimonials? Just everything like that.
Um, well, I was kind of like, for the first year, I was kind of like uh, whichever you'd say, either a one man army or a one man circus. I did everything from like e-commerce, Facebook ads, to website creation, to course selling for influencers, to email marketing, lots of stuff. I wasn't focused on one thing. Um, just through my experience, I didn't really leverage the testimonials, let's say, but I gained confidence. Like, I can actually do this. It seemed at first surreal to me that I can just click a button on a screen and then money appears in the Shopify dashboard. It was surreal to me. Like, people are actually working for an hourly wage when you can just click buttons and make much more. But through my success, I just gained enough confidence to land a client in the real estate market. Actually, it's kind of a weird situation where they kind of thought of me as an employee, but I was working mostly remotely. So through that, I gained insights on lead generation, how to get people to sign up, how to get people to show up to appointments, how to get people to buy on the appointments, even because I'm trying to teach realtors how to close the deals in order to get the best results. And through that, I've of course failed quite a few times, but now I think I'm finally getting the crack of real estate marketing for real. Like, even calling the leads themselves instead of having realtors do it. And alongside real estate marketing, while I was improving my service delivery, I still wanted to make money. So I have an agency that offers quite simple websites that are easy to build to businesses in Lithuania that do not have any websites. It's mostly construction businesses. And now I have a small team that does sales and basically the entire acquisition process. The system that I built, they're basically doing it for me. And of course, they're becoming pretty successful people themselves. So it's a pretty nice team.
Very cool. Where did you find the people that are now on your team?
Um, I think of myself as quite good at being able to tell what people are good at what. So I just saw people who had the motivation to go for something more. And it was just people I knew, some of them my friends, some of them just from my kickboxing um, training that I knew. And I basically just offered them, hey, do you want to do cold calls? Do you want to learn sales? And through that, it just, they improved. I taught them the systems, and now we're doing decently, I say. We're doing decently.
Cool, cool, cool. And then you mentioned outreach into businesses in Lithuania. Some people I've spoken to previously, not necessarily through the interview, but people who are trying to do freelancing, they were saying businesses in Lithuania don't really have the money to pay for services. So, in your eyes, is that cope or is that actually the case? Is it actually harder in Lithuania?
Um, well, in Lithuania, I like to say sales is like cavemen discovering fire because people do not have sales culture in sales in Lithuania. So yes, the money is not the same, and the culture, like the mindset to invest into marketing, it's also not the same. But alongside that, the competition is, in my opinion, not that hard. So acquisition is low. So yes, perhaps you might close clients that pay 300, 500, 600 euros, which is not that much, but you can close 10 of them in a single month, and that makes up for the difference in revenue compared to the US. Of course, in my
Mhm.
long-term plans, I want to expand to the UK or some sort of English-speaking countries that do have more money, but it's definitely possible. And I'd say for beginners, it's even easier because it's local businesses that only speak your language, and no foreigner like they would in England are able to outreach to them. So it's quite an easy market.
Yeah, very good perspective on that. Um, Now I want to get a bit more personal because at the end of last year, you messaged me about a commitment that you said Professor Andrew was making people in the copywriting campus do. So, can you explain what that was about and the commitment you made?
Yeah, so Professor Andrew always comes up with some sort of, let's say, a program or whatever to motivate the students to make sure they actually commit. And he had us to build out like the ideal future we want to have in order to actually commit it, like sacrifice something, and then tell a few people that you know that you're going to do it. I didn't expect it to be so soon. Not at all. I thought like at the end of the year I might hit like 10,000 revenue, but it happened right now. Of course, it's not very sustainable. And my business, I like to say, it's kind of like a burning plane that is only flying just because it's flying really fast. So it's not stable at all, but I did manage to hit it much sooner. So yeah, I messaged you like, hey man, I'm going to hit 10K per month at the end of 2025. But it's the third month and it's already done. So yeah.
Yeah, 3 months in, already hit it, which is really cool because so many people end up maybe making a goal, and yeah, they don't make the sacrifices I'm sure you did in order to actually achieve it. So it was really cool when you gave me the message saying that you actually got to 10K per month and you reached it pretty fast. Now, what are your plans to actually make it sustainable? Since, as you said, it's currently a burning airplane going through the sky.
Yeah, it's a bit messed up. Well, first of all, I actually made a whole plan for this. The plan is to, of course, automate the websites pretty much, so acquisition and fulfillment. And then, since I'm finally getting good results for real estate clients, like even today, one of the leads I talked to for one of the realtors had a insanely beautiful house. It was like a mansion with a pool, a tennis court inside it. So I can tell like the results I'm getting, they're very good. So now, of course, I'm going to reach out to my old clients when the results weren't that great because they were not used to calling social media leads. And then the plan is to expand to the UK because with it's not retainers, it's single payments. Subscription models for websites isn't really the norm here. So the plan is to transform into a real estate SMMA completely. The websites could be like some side income. The thing I can say about like hitting 10K per month, I thought I'd feel way more about it, but now I just realized it's only the start. And the only reason I hit it, it's not because I set it as my goal or like a dream income. I set it as a standard because I'm a pretty competitive person. So I was competing with one of my friends. He's an influencer on Instagram, and we were competing who's gonna hit 10K first. But we ended up both hitting 10K at the same time at the first month. So it was not really a goal; it was the standard I set for myself, and that's I think what helped me greatly.
Very cool. And speaking of people around you, how do they react to what you're doing? Because in Lithuania, from what I've seen, it's kind of unusual for people to be doing what you do.
Well, my father just when I told him that, hey dad, I hit 10K finally, he told me, do your taxes, and that's it. Now other people around me, I don't really like sharing it with people who are not involved in the business, um, just because it brings unnecessary validation, and I do not want to be satisfied about my current position. I want to aim for way more. But I do have quite a good circle of people around me just through friends from in real life who are, let's say, real estate brokers. They started working at my clients, and they're also working on their goals. And through the real world, I also met very supportive people. So I guess what I can say, like, they were all very encouraging and proud of me, and quite a few of them I met thanks to the real world. Like even my mentor, who taught me a lot about real estate marketing for no reason. Like it's nothing in it for him, but he's a great guy and he taught me a lot of stuff.
Mhm. Okay, cool. So, how different is your average day now compared to before you joined the real world? Just to show some contrast there.
Well, I hit 10K, but I still live with my parents in my parents' house, so it's not that different. I did drop out of university. Um, Not officially, it's like a student's holiday, but I'm never coming back. So I guess I have way more control. Financially, it doesn't feel like that much. I mean, I'm able to give money to my parents. Like today, I send them 1,000 euros. But to me, I can buy clothes, I guess, but it doesn't feel that much yet because I don't want to cash out yet. You know, I don't want to enjoy the fruits of my labor just because that would make me feel satisfied, I guess. So I guess I have more control in life, which is one of my main goals.
Yeah, good perspective. What about, do you still watch Tate's content or did you watch before? And if so, what kind of an impact did either Andrew or Tristan have on your mindset and anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I watch them still, like the videos that they post. I think the most I'm getting out of the real world, like my business is not really much related to copywriting. I guess it still teaches the marketing that we need to learn, the psychology of marketing, but mostly it's mindset and a community of people around me. So with Tates, yeah, I think they influenced my mindset quite a bit. I still had quite a similar mindset, the motivation to achieve things, even before, let's say, finding out about Andrew and Tristan Tate. But they said a lot of stuff that resonated with me, and it's, to be honest, it's quite hard to tell how my mind has changed just because I've been, let's say, in the circle of the real world, the Tates, for quite a long time. So it's hard to remember what it even was before.
Hmm. Okay, very cool. So at the start, you mentioned you were doing kickboxing, right? Is that something you were doing before the real world, or is it something you started after? And what has been the purpose of that?
Yeah, I started kickboxing before the real world, but I think like I did start it. Quite a big part of it was Andrew Tate because I was going to the gym before, but I just didn't feel like just having muscles and looking good was what I wanted. So Tate's kind of brought the idea of kickboxing to me, and I started it, and it was a very good decision. I feel way more confident, and the like the purpose of sports, I don't think it should be like to just look good or look big and not be athletic. So yeah, it was kind of Tate's influence, and I think it was one of the best decisions.
Okay. Cool. So I guess that's all my questions for now. So I'll wrap up with a final one, that being, Since the reward was such a benefit to you, what do you say to people who are unsure about joining because they think they might get scammed for $50?
Well, I'd say like what I said to Tristan. It would be a pretty terrible scam to steal people's $50 instead of like 1,000 or something. But you have basically nothing to lose. If you have big goals, it should be like 10,000, 100,000, a million per month. $50 compared to that, you should just take the risk. Like there's too much social proof to like not take the risk. And in my opinion, you should definitely do it. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that. And for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
Yeah, like I said, you can attach my Instagram at the description of the video. So if anyone maybe needs real estate marketing or any advice, perhaps they're thinking of joining the real world, they can hit me up. I can guide you. And yeah.
All right. So yeah, that'll be in the description of the video. And yeah, Kajus, you do something that I don't know. Basically, I've only interviewed one other Lithuanian, but in real life, I don't know any other Lithuanian who is doing what you're doing in terms of actually freelancing and making it work and doing well with it. Because 10,000 a month is a considerable amount of money in Lithuania. I know for you it's just a standard, but for everyone else, I'm sure if they hear it, they think, "Damn, like is that even possible?" So many people question the possibility of that. And at 19 years old, you go out and prove that not only is it possible, but you'll be able to even more than the 10K a month. So yeah, been great speaking to you. Thank you for coming on and sharing your insights, your story, your perspective, everything. We can do a follow up in future, and I wish you all the best until then.
See you at the top.